when the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keeps dealing me cards, I keep fitting in love.
What is going on, people? It's G, and we are back in the building. You guys already know what time it is. You know what it is, guys. As you can see, scrolled across the bottom, we are here with a new show that I will be doing for this season, and that is taking a look at the top 5 under-23 ballers of the week. Now, obviously, I'm only going to really be looking at the kind of quote-unquote top 5 European league. So that's obviously the Premier League, that's the Bundesliga, that's Serie A, that's Ligue 1. And am I missing one? I think, yeah, Premier League, Bundesliga, Serie A, Ligue 1, and I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all. Belgium, England, Italy, France, and obviously La Liga. How can I forget La Liga? Jesus Christ, come on. Early morning as it is. Now, what I'll be trying to do is bringing you this video every Monday and or Tuesday, if possible. Again, it will obviously just all depend on the weekend games, when those games are. Obviously, some weeks there might be cup games. So as for example, this week, we're going to be taking a look at quite a couple of the players that I've got on show for today. They've obviously been playing in cup competitions because of some teams, some countries obviously will have those, like the Coppa Italia or the Pokal in Germany. Obviously, they've only just started, and then the following week they'll be into their actual first games of the season. So this week, that's what we're going to be kind of taking a look at. So I wanted to just say, you know what, let's just start it this week. You know what I mean? Let's just dive straight into it. Just quickly, reason being purely just because you guys already know I do a lot of scout watches, player watches and stuff like that. And I felt like this would also be a nice little thing, you know, throughout the season, just to kind of take a look at, you know, certain players, you know, in certain different leagues that, you know, some of us, you know, most of us are not really, you know, watching. You know, is there anyone really to look out for? Is there anyone you think for your own team? You know, this isn't just for Liverpool. Of course, primarily, I'm a Liverpool fan. So, you know, there are going to be a couple of players that I will be taking a look at and thinking, hey, you know what? We need this position. This might be the guy, you know, kind of thing. But anybody else who is watching this, you know, you might think that there might be a player for you. Is this a player that you might want to go away and take a look at and things like that? Heck, it might just be a player that we only ever see in the top 5 baller of the week only once. I'll try and have a general rule of thumb in terms of I won't have the same player in, for example, 3 times in a season, aka Haaland. You know, I'm trying to steer away from having, unless of course, listen, if he has a blinder of a match week, of course we have to, you know, put someone like him in. But I don't want to steer too much and taking too much of a focus on those kind of players, because we already know what they're all about. We already know when Haaland scores a goal, everybody hears about it. So, you know, do we need to keep talking and banging on about it? Not really. It's going to happen, give or take, most game weeks anyway, you know, judging by what he did last season. So, you know, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best. Guys, obviously, in the comment section, please let me know. Drop me a DM, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever social media that you know currently use. Drop me a DM if there's a player that you thought, you know, this week, you know, playing in, you know, Ligue 1. Heck, even if there's a player, you know, in the Portuguese league, in the Belgium league, in the Dutch league. You know, I know, again, quote unquote, the top 5 European leagues. I don't actually think Ligue 1 was actually in that. But for the purposes, you know, of this show and, you know, the original top 5 kind of thing, the one that's most notoriously known in and around Europe, I will be looking at mostly those leagues. But again, please drop me a DM if there's a performance, you know, that you guys have, you know, particularly liked in the Dutch league, as an example. Let's say a player from Feyenoord, you know, under 23, who, you know, has played absolutely blinding this week. Drop me a DM and I'll put him in as almost like a special mention, you know, on top of the 5 players that I've already, you know, kind of already looked at. And again, I'll be trying to do the same as well. So communicate, engage, let me know, man. I'm going to try my hardest to try and have a look, you know, this season, particularly all across Europe, also, you know, South America and things like that. But I really want to be taking a look and taking a deeper dive into some players in a general sense, you know, taking a look at some of these leagues, because where this summer has kind of taught me, you know, that clearly a lot of us are trying to broaden our knowledge, in the football world. We're trying our hardest to just try and see, what other players are out there. I think obviously as Liverpool fans, we're looking for defensive midfielders. So of course we're scouring the world, South America and Europe, and heck, I'm surprised we haven't gone to Africa, to take a look at, what type of midfielders are potentially out there and stuff like that. But also I've seen quite a lot of the other fan bases, doing the same, taking a look at other leagues, what other players are there, what kind of players can we, potentially utilize, because there's so many players around the world. And all we want is for our teams to just continuously keep getting better year on year. We can't all be Manchester City, unfortunately. And even they are, trying to improve their squad, getting in a couple of signings as of now. So, it's just really just to take a look at more players in and around Europe, give them their flowers as well, to be honest with you, because I don't always feel that a lot of people, in terms of the content creation world, I don't think we, particularly look at these kind of things. But then when it does come time to, sign players and stuff like that, that's probably why some people are always quite hesitant, on a couple of players, because you just don't know. And I'm the same. If I've never seen someone, I take Trindade, Andre from Fluminense, never watched him, prior to that. So straight away, there's that kind of, back against the wall kind of nature with someone like him, not because he's a poor player or anything like that. It's just, have you ever watched him? So I really want to be trying to, do that this season. So hopefully you guys rock with this show. Sorry, this is a kind of a long intro, but it's only this time I'm going to be doing this. As of next week, we won't be diving into the intro. We'll go straight into our top 5 players, of the week. And then obviously just go really from there. And obviously, as you guys can obviously see here, the top 5 under 23 ballers of the damn week. So this week, let's start off. Where should we even start off first and foremost? Obviously, you know what? Let's just make it easy. It's the first week. Let's ease into it, and then each week I'm going to just try and chop and change it as to who we go first. It's top 5. I'm not doing it in order. It's not going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's just my kind of top 5 players that I've kind of seen in a general sense. I mean, if you guys want me to put them in order, again, this is the first episode. So call this almost like a pilot episode, so to speak. Let me know what you think. Should I do them in order, in terms of 5th is this, 4th is that, 3rd is this, 2nd is that, and, the top baller of the week was this and that? Or do you want me to just do it as, these are the top 5 players from, the previous week and stuff like that? But this week we'll obviously start off, let's make it simple. And that is Enzo Fernandez. Now, special mention or honorable mention goes out to Bukayo Saka. He was absolutely fantastic, for Arsenal up against Nottingham Forest at home on the first day of the season. Instrumental in their win, got himself a goal as well. He was very, very close. He was actually my first pick, to be honest with you. Just before I saw Enzo's performance, yesterday up against Liverpool, which we'll obviously get into in a second. Another honorable mention, I'll probably say Isak. I believe Isak's going to be turning 24 actually pretty soon. So I was a little bit touch and go as to whether I thought it was fair enough to put him in, into these kind of things. But he was another one, got himself 2 goals as Newcastle ran riot against Aston Villa. So again, an honourable mention for really those two. Julian Alvarez was really good. I believe he's turning 24 as well this season. So there was actually quite a couple. There was a couple of players out there, but for me, I really do have to start off, with Enzo Fernandez, the central midfielder. His performance, yesterday against Liverpool, fantastic. I absolutely loved that. I think that I am a little biased, to be honest with you, because he is the type of midfielder that kind of performance. He's kind of always had it in his locker. Maybe just didn't show it too much, last season with all the troubles that Chelsea was going through. But that's the kind of midfielder I would love, to have. But again, those kind of midfielders, you've got to be able to utilize what they're really good at. In a coach like Mauricio Pochettino, I think he'll be able to really get these kind of performances from Enzo if he can continue this, and if Pochettino can get this out of him, which I believe he will be able to. I think we're going to be seeing this, on a more consistent basis from Enzo, and especially if they, get in the Caicedos and the Lavias and stuff like that. We're really going to start seeing, more of these kind of performances from Enzo, where he's really controlling the midfield kind of by himself. And that's exactly, what he did, up against Liverpool. And, we can see here by the heat map and everything, just everywhere in that central of the pitch, he was just really instrumental, picking up the ball, dropping deep, showing himself as an option, picking up the ball sometimes from the centre backs, being able to, play these quick passes, good combination play, and then getting himself sometimes further forward and then linking up really well. He was just an all action kind of individual. And I'm not even talking purely from, would I say, a statistical, so to speak, point of view. It was more, would I say, from just a point of view of being able to control a game. If we take a look, we'll take a quick look at the kind of lineup and stuff like that they kind of had yesterday. Apologies if the screen is moving a bit funky. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. So obviously you can see here the kind of lineup that Chelsea was playing yesterday. If I just enlarge in that for you guys to be able to see. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I think that's perfect. Yeah. So obviously you guys can obviously see on the screen at this current moment in time. For me, he was the best midfielder in my personal. But I know they've got McAllister here. They put him inside, and he was okay. He was okay, but I felt like Enzo had more of the game, so to speak. I think maybe just because of that first, would I say, 25 to 35 minutes for Liverpool, in terms of McAllister being quite instrumental in, helping Liverpool get in the lead first and foremost, but just what he was good at, on the ball. And they were quite actually similar, if I'm being 100% honest with you, in terms of what they were both kind of good at. But unfortunately for McAllister, in his case, where he didn't have anybody next to him defensively who was kind of helping him out, it kind of, left him a bit exposed at times. Again, not his fault, because he was the defensive midfielder, obviously, in this game, but it wasn't really his fault because he didn't have a natural person alongside him to kind of help out in that regards. Whereas Chelsea were kind of using Gallagher in that kind of role where he would do the mopping up, he would do the kind of dirty work, so to speak. So when you see things like that, obviously, of course, it is going to, inevitably, help a brother out, so to speak. But I just felt like, in this game, he was just fantastic. The control that I felt that he had within that midfield, kind of by himself, at times. Yeah, I just loved it. I just thought it was, genuinely, fantastic. So that was kind of like my reasoning as to, why I felt, he, had to be picked, for that kind of Premier League. Again, there was honourable mentions for Bukayo Saka and stuff like that. But for me, it just happened to be him. And, when we take a look here, obviously at his game, played 90 minutes, big chances created. He got himself one successful dribbles, 2 out of 2 shots, 3 recoveries in the game. Passes, 85 out of 94, 119 touches, and 5 out of 9 ground duels won. And I think, just a really, really good player, to be honest with you. And again, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how he does, obviously, moving forward. Now, let's go on to our next player. I think I'm going to save one of those for last, actually. I think we'll go over to Italy. We'll go over to Italy. So there was obviously the Coppa Italia, game week 1. And this time we are obviously taking a look at right back Anthony Oyono, the right back who currently plays for Serie B, or now they're obviously in Serie A, for Frosinone. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's going to be interesting to hear someone else pronounce it, but apologies if I've absolutely butchered the name. But the right back, obviously, Gabon international, got himself 12 caps for them. Very good. He's a very good player in terms of not a very high profile individual. Can play left back, can play right back, can play obviously in right midfield as well. Last season, he did obviously appear in Serie B and the Italian Cup, played 14 games and got himself 2 assists. But in the game during the weekend, I just felt like, his performance, really did help, in regards to helping his team to that victory and obviously pushing them obviously on to the next round. You can see him here, obviously up and down that right-hand side, very, very instrumental in that kind of sense. And if we take a look just at the game in itself, if I get that up for you guys. Boom, boom, boom. And let's enlarge on the screen for you guys. Boom, boom. So you can see here, up against Pisa, they scored in the 7th minute, but just at the back there, I just felt like he was really, really quite dominant down that right hand side. And even though Pisa on their left hand side, they were pretty decent up against Oyono, I just felt like they just couldn't really hack him on that side. He really was bombing up and down, down that right hand flank, and he was causing problems, especially further up the field. He was really, really causing quite a lot of issues. And it's going to be quite interesting, actually. He's going to be someone I've just jotted down in terms of my notes. It's going to be interesting to see, how he fares, obviously, this season, because, certain players, coming up, especially from Serie B, even just from any lower league, it is always interesting to see how do they fare, moving forward, moving up to upper division, how they're going to be able to do. These are just cup games, so to speak. So, of course, there's going to be that level of, okay, well, it's just a cup game. It's still technically pre-season, so to speak. We're still early part of August and all these kind of various different things. So it will be interesting to kind of note and see how obviously he does moving forward. And obviously, if you take a look here at some of his stats from the game in itself, played a full 90 minutes, 4 out of 6 tackles won, 7 recoveries, 11 out of 15 ground duels won in the game. 3 out of 3 shots on target, which is really, really good. 20 out of 24 passes, 48 touches, and 3 out of 5 successful dribbles. So again, a very, very assured performance in my personal opinion. And I think moving forward, it's going to be very, very interesting to see again, how he obviously does. Now, let's go over to France and take a look at Vanderson. Now, this player is quite interesting. Very, very interesting play. He's actually had both Barcelona and Manchester United, who have both been, would I say, looking at potential right backs to come into their team. And he's actually been someone who's been put on their list, so to speak. I'll say as much as that. He's been put on their list, but it's his positioning that I found quite interesting, doing a little research in behind him and, what he's really good at and stuff like that. So in the game, I'll show you the game in terms of how they lined up in the match so that you guys can kind of understand, exactly where coming from. Let's push this back a little bit. Let's share the screen. Boom. Boom. So obviously Monaco 4-2 in Ligue 1 against Clermont. You can see here, well, there's a player in there who I think Liverpool should be signing, but, we'll get onto that another time. But you can see here, he lines up here in that kind of right wing back / right midfield position. Now, it just really depends, of course, when you're playing 3 at the back and then you've got the 2 wing back / midfielders, so to speak. Obviously, they need to kind of occupy both roles. Obviously, it's going to look like they can kind of occupy both. But with someone like Vanderson, one thing that I've noticed quite a lot about him is that he can actually play in that right midfield and right wing position. He all up and down, that right hand side. Last season, he appeared 39 times, got himself 1 goal and 5 assists. 22 games at right back, 8 games at right midfield, and 3 games as a right winger. So that level of versatility, he reminded me a little bit of Frimpong, if I'm being totally honest with you. But with him, I actually think it's more purposeful in terms of that is his general position. Anywhere along that right hand side, he could genuinely play in those positions because he does possess quite a bit of pace. He's got that agility. He's comfortable on the ball. He's brilliant at getting the ball forward. Decent crosser as well. So in those kind of areas, again, I think it will just kind of depend on how the team kind of wants to set up. I know, as I mentioned, Manchester United, are they looking for someone who is a lot better on that right hand side than a Dalot or a Wan-Bissaka? Obviously, they could easily upgrade upon those 2 kind of players. And I don't think they'll be breaking the bank, so to speak, by getting in, someone like a Vanderson. Big up Minamino, obviously, in the cut as well. Got himself an assist. But I just think with the way that Monaco played now, before, Monaco were playing, with a back 4. So when they were playing with a back 4, he wasn't even appearing as the right back in that team. He was playing as more the right winger / right midfielder. So that's why when I look at him, I'm like, he's a very interesting individual, in terms of his positioning. And I think for a team who need that kind of attacking outlet on that right-hand side, he might, just generally be an option. And obviously the player that I was talking about was obviously Yusuf Fofana, absolute bad boy. I think, Liverpool would be silly to not be going in for someone like him. But, that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. We'll leave that for another day. Now we get on to our next one. Can Uzun. Now, this is the FC Nuremberg wonder kid. This guy has been lighting it up for a little while. Quite a few people have actually spoken about him and actually tout this guy to be an absolute baller. I think he got like 48 or something goals, in 50 youth games. And, he's got a crazy record. If we take a look here, just at his performance for Nuremberg in the Pokal competition. Let's take a quick look here. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce that team that they played. Let's just say they won, 9-1 in that game in their first round fixture. But you can see here, excellent, absolutely excellent performance, from Uzun. And as I mentioned before, as I said, he's been making quite a bit of noise, to be honest with you. In the youth teams, can play in that central midfield, central attacking midfield positions as well. Very, very good dribbler of the ball, and his ball control is really, really good. He's got some nice, even in this game, I watched the highlights. Even in this game, he had some really nice touches, in the attacking third of the pitch. He finds pockets of space, but he does seem like a player who prefers to pick up that ball from deep and dribble. And he's very good at the quick combinations. So because he's so good at those quick combinations, he can get the ball moving forward a lot quicker. But also, it's done in a way that isn't necessarily, would I say, direct, so to speak. It's kind of done through good passages of play and things like that. And again, playing just behind the kind of striker with the two wingers, he was absolutely excellent. And as you can see, he got himself a hat trick, and they are calling him the Nuremberg wonder kid. So again, it is going to be super interesting to see how he does, this season. If I take a look just at his stats from last season, I was having a look earlier on. So playing, for the under-19 side, played 25 games in all competitions. He got 21 goals and 6 assists. That's 27 goals and assists in 25 games. Scary, man. Absolutely scary. Played as a centre forward 4 times, last season. Got himself about 9 goals at attacking midfield. Obviously, mainly that was his overall position. So again, like I mentioned, I think he is more like, maybe in the youth setup, he was probably more a attacking midfielder, or he was, an attacking midfielder, maybe I would say more by trade, but he did obviously play up front quite a lot. I don't think he's going to be able to play up front, I believe, in senior men's football because of his style of play. I don't feel like his style of play, you're going to get the best out of him, so to speak. In my personal opinion, I just don't see that with him because of the way he kind of plays. I feel like he's going to be better in that attacking midfield position behind a natural striker, someone obviously who's got more instinctive attributes about them. And then you get him playing behind you, I think then you've really got a very, very good player who, in the future, I think we're going to be seeing, a lot more of. I don't know why I've got here 2 goals, but obviously got himself a hat trick, XG times 0.9. It should be 3 shots there, 26 out of 32 passes, 50 touches, 4 recoveries. As I mentioned, obviously playing in that midfield position in itself. So a very, very good player, very, very interesting player. And I think we're going to be hearing a lot more of him throughout the season. Now, last but not least, I had to save this one. This is obviously over in Spain. I had to save it. You probably know already. And that's Jude Bellingham. I had to, man. You guys already, I had to. There's been so much talk, of Jude Bellingham in terms of his big money move to Real Madrid this summer. Obviously, with the flirtation of potentially moving to Liverpool. Obviously, that didn't quite materialize this summer, but ultimately he's now at Real Madrid. And, throughout the preseason as well, we did see quite a few good performances from him. But this is obviously his La Liga debut. And look, he got himself a goal celebrated in front of the Athletic Bilbao fans. They didn't like it. I think Munaim apparently made a comment to him in regards to, celebrating in front of those fans, which I felt was very, very interesting. So, he don't care. I'll tell you that much. Bellingham doesn't strike me as a guy who's gonna, care too much about those kind of things. But it is what it is. It is what it is. If we take a look here at his performance in the game in itself, so now let's get this up. Jesus Christ! I mean, sometimes every time I look at Real Madrid's team, honestly, it's quite mind-boggling. It's so mad. I don't think none of their midfielders, in fact, maybe bar Vinicius, if you want to put Alaba in there. But I don't even feel like they have world-class players like that. I just think these guys are just super dope. I don't feel like Tchouameni or Valverde are world-class. I just think that they're in that bracket just below for me in terms of there's world-class, because I don't just give it out to anybody. But these guys are very, very close to there. And I think they'll start to exert that level of world-class dominance, over the next couple of years. Vinicius, I probably would slightly put him in there. But that's neither here nor there. But Bellingham, man of the match in this game, first game of the season. Just a complete, just dominant performance, from him. And again, look, I had some reservations in regards to him. Again, it was more to do with the price kind of thing, which is so funny because hindsight is a wonderful thing. That I was talking about myself and Jerry. We were, concerned about the price it would take to get in a Jude Bellingham just for us to go and bid 111 million on Caicedo anyway. So if we had the money, then why didn't you just go out and get a Bellingham? And yes, I understand before anybody starts saying, oh, but wages and things package and the full package would have cost it. I think we could have easily have paid that if I'm being 100% honest with you. I don't think that would have been too much of an issue, to be honest with you. So it might have just been one of those things. He probably just wanted to join Real Madrid over Liverpool. Who wouldn't? You'd be dumb not to. But ultimately, in this game in itself, I felt like he was just the best player. They got him here as the man of the match, which is quite hard to do when you think about it. You got Valverde, you got Tchouameni, you got Camavinga, got Vinicius. Militao got himself injured. Alaba as well. Some ballers on the pitch. Rodrigo is a very good player as well. Got himself a goal. There's a lot of ballers, but I just think with him, with that kind of dominant midfield performance over the Atletico Bilbao's team, I think that's why for me, I just had him, just up there as, the kind of star performer. And you can see just where he was on the pitch in a general sense, just everywhere, absolutely everywhere, just in attacking midfield, central midfield, helping out, with in defensive transitions and all these other various kind of different things. And when you look at his game in itself, 90 minutes, got himself a goal, 6 recoveries in the game, 75 touches, 3 out of 4 successful dribbles, 40 out of 49 passes, got himself a shot on target as well. I just think it was just an all-round very, very good central midfield performance from Jude Bellingham. So that's why he is obviously picked in my top 5 players of the week. So just to quickly run through them again, we've got Anthony Oyono, the right back, playing for, I'm going to butcher this name, so I do apologize to all my Italian viewers out there. Frosinone, a decent player and very, very decent performance that he obviously puts in. Then you've obviously got Enzo Fernandez of Chelsea, very good performance in that central midfield position, really, really dominated the state of play. Then you've got Vanderson, playing in that kind of right wing back, right midfield position, really, really, really dominant display down that right hand side. And I think he's actually one to watch in terms of if he potentially makes that move this summer, late on in this window before September the 1st. So just kind of keep an eye out for him. Then we've got Uzun, the Nuremberg wonder kid, excellent player, attacking midfielder, can play up front as well. Really, really good and really, really pleasing on the eye, good on the ball, got brilliant technical ability, even got the cool and calmness, even slot away a penalty as well. So definitely a player to watch in the future. And then obviously you've got Jude Bellingham, Mr. I am him himself, with that dominant display in his La Liga debut, wearing that number 5, Zidane on the back. Will he be able to fulfill those boots? It's only one game. So let's just wait and see how that kind of pans out for him. But obviously, that is our top 5 ballers of the damn week. Top 5 under 23 ballers of the damn week. Let me know if there's anybody I kind of missed out. Anybody you guys think maybe I should have put him top, or maybe I should have put him in there instead of this guy. You know, anybody I should be on the lookout for next week, and you know, all of these kind of various different things. Let me know what you guys obviously think in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this new segment, this new show, and we'll be back next week, Monday or Tuesday. Just watch out for your notifications. It will be up there. Make sure you tune in. I'm G, and we are